Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. On Thursday morning, Ukrainian authorities reported widespread damage and casualties following a new Russian attack. According to Ukraine's Air Force, Russia launched more than 80 attack drones overnight. One of the main targets was the city of Cherkasy, where 6 people were wounded, according to the head of the regional military administration. He said Russian forces struck critical infrastructure, leaving parts of the city without power. Residential areas were also damaged, with at least 15 houses affected. In Kiviri, 4 people were wounded in the attack. Ukraine's State Emergency Service reported damage to multiple residential buildings, an administrative building, as well as a cultural facility. In the southern regions of Mykolaiv and Kherson, Russian forces hit energy infrastructure and local thermal power plants, leaving residents without electricity and heating. In the neighboring Odessa region, 7 people were wounded as a result of Russian strikes. Meanwhile, inside Russia, Ukraine carried out drone attacks on Rostov-on-Don, Betaisk, and Taganrog, according to local officials who said a cargo vessel caught fire in the port of Rostov following the attack. 2 crew members were killed and 3 others were injured. In the western part of the city, a newly built apartment block was also damaged, though no injuries were reported there. In Betaisk, drone strikes wounded 7 people, 3 of whom were hospitalized and 1 person was killed. Ukrainian monitoring channels say that the target was likely a tanker designed to transport petroleum products. Local media also reported a residential building fire following the attack. According to the independent Russian outlet Estra, an electrical substation is located just 160 meters from one of the damaged buildings. Now, turning to the front line, fighters from Ukraine's 3rd Army Corps, together with reconnaissance units, reported the destruction of a Russian army regiment and the capture of a significant number of Russian soldiers during coordinated assault operations in the Liman area. Ukrainian forces say the operation allowed them to stabilize the front lines and improve their tactical position in the area. Russian troops ramped up their offensive on the Liman area in November, using large infantry groups in attempts to break through Ukrainian defenses, infiltrate the city, and advance towards the railway station. In the Pokrovsk sector, Russian forces continue efforts to expand the base of their so-called breakthrough towards Dobropilya. Ukrainian troops report ongoing mechanized and motorized assaults, with Russian units attempting to build river crossings and breach anti-tank ditches to enter Shakhove. From there, Russian forces are trying to advance into the recently cleared Dobropilya salient, though Ukrainian defenders say these attempts have so far been largely unsuccessful. In this opening clip, see Russian troops follow a familiar pattern, concentrating infantry inside a civilian building ahead of an advance. Their plan relied on silence and surprise. But they failed to consider one key factor: remote surveillance. At a certain moment, a powerful explosion tore through the area. The building used by Russian forces as a temporary staging area became a trap. There was no chance for organized advance as well as evacuation. This happened in the village of Novopidhorodne in the Dnipro region, another example of how attempts to hide from war can end swiftly and brutally. The next bit of footage comes from Ukrainian soldiers, and it shows how Ukraine's FPVs operate quickly and without sentiment. In just a few seconds, they close in, destroying the Russians' route along with their equipment. Let's take a look at how the Ukrainian armed forces are destroying Russian vehicles on their way to the front line. Russia continues to showcase its so-called achievements in air defense. According to the latest claims by Moscow, a new laser air defense system has been developed to target Ukrainian drones. Russian forces say the system has a range of 1.5 kilometers and has already eliminated about 500 UAVs. But experts question the real effectiveness of these claims. Still, the Kremlin plans to ramp up production and deploy the lasers across multiple positions, aiming to create a drone countermeasure zone along the front lines. So far, real combat testing appears limited to propaganda statements. In the Liman area, results are measured not by emotions but by numbers. 48 downed Shaheds mean 48 thwarted attempts to kill civilians and damage critical infrastructure. A significant part of that success belongs to operators from the Signum Battalion. They were among the first in Ukraine to systematically intercept Iranian and Russian drones using their own UAVs. No loud statements, just cold calculation, advanced technology, and precise control. What makes this story stand out is the human factor. These soldiers volunteered, often in their free time, to fly combat missions and intercept the incoming Shaheds. This isn't a one-time success as well. It's a proven tactic that saves lives every single day. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.